Are you eating too little to lose body fat? That kind of sounds like a contradictory statement, but that's what we're going to talk about today because some people are not getting the results they're looking for when it comes to body fat loss because they are, in fact, eating too little. As we all know, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. That's no secret. But if your calorie deficit is too stringent and it's been going on for too long, then you actually may be hurting your results. So, we're going to go over why being in a bigger calorie deficit is not always the best strategy. My name is Lee Brewer. I've been a personal trainer for 15 years, and I also have an online group called the Midlife Reset, working with women in perimenopause and menopause. So, if you're interested in that, please come check me out at leebrewerfitness.com. So, eating less isn't always better. So, fat loss does require a calorie deficit, but there's a big difference between a reasonable deficit and chronically eating far too little. So, the body is always looking for equilibrium. So, your body is always going to adjust to what it is you're doing. So, when you go into an extreme calorie deficit, you are telling your body that it needs to burn less calories as well. So your body will start to adjust and your body starts burning less calories over time because of your calorie deficit. So more restriction doesn't automatically mean better results. If you're too aggressive, it can make fat loss harder to sustain and can negatively affect your training, recovery, and daily activity. So, these are things that we all do not want to happen. You want to make sure that while you're in a calorie deficit, you are still doing things in a sustainable manner. You don't want to negatively affect your daily activity because, in the long run, that is going to hurt your results. So, what happens when the calorie deficit gets too low? Your energy and training performance can drop off. Your body is underfueled. So your workouts and your activity may not be as good. Also, it makes it much harder for the body to recover. So you still need to be giving your body what it needs to recover. And if you're going way too low in a calorie deficit, your body is just not going to recover. And the adaptation that you're looking for is probably not going to happen nearly as fast as you hope. Also, you may move less than what you realize. So your daily calorie expenditure will probably go down because you'll start moving less because your calories are so low. Also, as I said before, your calorie expenditure over time will start to go down because your body is adapting to what you're telling it, and you're telling it that your calories are very low, so the body is going to burn less and less calories over time. And then also the hunger can become harder to manage. If you're depriving yourself with an extremely low calorie count, then that's just not sustainable for most people. And then eventually your hunger will take over and you'll start eating at inopportune times. And then you'll also be making worse food selection choices when you're ravenous hungry. So, what do we need to be doing? We need to be protecting our muscle. If you want body fat to go down sustainably, protecting your muscle is very, very important. So this is extremely important for especially women in midlife. Also, anyone on a GLP-1. When you talk to your doctor, when you get on a GLP-1, they should be telling you about protecting your muscle mass because when you're on a GLP-1, you go into an extreme deficit, or you will go into a calorie deficit, may or may not be extreme. And muscle loss is a part of that. So you need to make sure that you're doing all you can to keep your muscle mass. So the goal isn't simply to make the scale go down, it's to make fat loss. You want to have fat loss, not necessarily the scale going down so much. So during fat loss, we want to preserve as much lean muscle as possible. So the goal is to lose fat and keep muscle. How do you do that? You do that through proper amounts of protein and strength training. Very, very important. Adequate protein. If your calorie deficit is too extreme, then it is most likely that your protein is too low as well. So it's going to be very difficult for you to maintain muscle mass if your protein intake is too low. Also, you need to send your body the signal to preserve the muscle by strength training. If you're not strength training, your body is not going to get a signal to preserve muscle, and that is going to hurt your results long term. So instead of asking how little can I eat, you should be asking how much can I eat and still make progress? So you want to eat as much as you can while still being in a calorie deficit, but able to maintain your muscle mass and continue to progress by losing body fat over time. So you definitely want to make sure that you're not going too extreme and just focusing on how little you can eat. So here's a better approach to fat loss. You want to use a reasonable calorie deficit. Don't be extreme. All right. So you want to use a go. I usually say 300 to 500 calories below maintenance is usually a reasonable place to be. Anything beyond that, I do consider extreme in most cases. So you want to aim for gradual, sustainable progress. Not trying to. You didn't gain all the weight in a month. You're not going to lose it all in a month. So try to look at doing going with methods that are more sustainable as opposed to speed. Prioritize protein and strength training. As I said, this gives your body the nutrition and the stimulus that it needs to help preserve muscle. Keep moving and recovering. Very important. Daily activity, sleep, and recovery all contribute to sustainable fat loss. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough, especially protein, to give your body what it needs to recover. But also sleep is super, super important when it comes to recovering. And again, look beyond the scale. Think about things in terms of fat loss, not weight loss. Okay. If you only care about weight loss, you are going to probably do it in an unsustainable way. If you just think about fat loss, your results long term will be much more sustainable. So just remember, the biggest deficit isn't always the best deficit. Fuel your training, preserve your muscle, and build a plan you can sustain. Very, very important. Make sure it's something sustainable. Okay. If you want to check me out, I'm at LibraFitness.com. There you can learn more about my online program, the Midlife Reset. It is for women in perimenopause and menopause. Between now and Labor Day, I am offering one free month in that program. So please come check me out. Have a great day.